it's me. I'm late. And even though I'm late, we're still going to be talking about HyperFund today. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's okay, because this is going to catch you up on all of the tea and all of the details from what I can understand of the information that I read. So I'm going to say hi to the live chat replay crew. If you are just coming in after the stream has ended, hello. Thank you so much. Open up the live chat to see what we were all raging about, and definitely drop your commentary in the below. If you have questions, I'll do my best to answer it. Oh my gosh. A streamer is never late or early. She's always precisely on time. What a Gandalf moment. Thank you so much. Hello, Alexis, Sam, Kate, Christina, Squidney, Barbie, Marissa, Neffy, Patricia, Coconuts, Hero, Mermeow, Angela, Elaine, Heather, Christy. This is a little out of my wheelhouse, but I've made a kind of a presentation so we can talk and rage about things in an organized fashion. I know, you never thought it would happen, but here it is. If you're lurking, hello. If you're not lurking, hello. Thank you for looking the stream prematurely so that people want to know about this and they are looking for a live stream, maybe they can find it. And we're gonna go ahead and get started. Who the hell is HyperFund? This is their logo. I'll also have the slide topic of what we're talking about in the top of my slide. But HyperFund, described as a cryptocurrency-based multi-level marketing company, has made promises to investors about the potential of earning significant returns on their investments. In practice, HyperFund issued an internal token known as HU, which they claimed held value. To realize profits on HU, I'm just going to say HU from now on, but it's capital H, capital U, investors would need to convert these tokens to another cryptocurrency called MOF via HyperFund before they could withdraw funds to an exchange. I think some of y'all are seeing the issue already. However, according to various authorities and sources, HyperFund has been classified as a Ponzi or a pyramid scheme, with several reports and reviews alleging fraudulent activity. You don't say. The business model reportedly enticed investors to purchase memberships packages, promising that the company would create a portfolio of rewards, tripling their investment amount. This kind of sounds a little bit like iGenius, but what do I know? The Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, filed charges against the founders and promoters of HyperFund, alleging that over $1.7 billion was raised from investors worldwide throughout the scheme. One such promoter, Brenda Chunga, which we'll talk about later, known as Bitcoin Beautee, has been specifically mentioned in the context of these allegations. Amid the legal scrutiny and allegations, reports indicate that some individuals associated... Sorry, please hold. I'm having technical difficulties. My mouse just died, so love that. Amid the legal scrutiny and allegations, reports indicate that some individuals associated with HyperFund might be attempting to flee the country. We'll talk about that too. The rebranding of HyperFund has also been noted, which is sometimes a tactic used by firms to evade legal consequences and continue questionable operations under a new guise. Do we love it? Do we hate it? The fraudacity. Absolutely. Yes, the fraudacity. Given the serious nature of these allegations and the SEC's involvement, yikes. And we'll talk about who the SEC is in a later slide. I'm not trying to overwhelm you because sometimes we hear these governmental agencies and we don't know exactly what they do. We're going to talk about that too. Given the serious nature of these allegations and the SEC's involvement, it is advisable for individuals to exercise caution and thoroughly research before engaging with HyperFund or any similar investment opportunities that appear to offer unrealistically high returns with unclear business practices. Okay, I'm trying to get my mouse to work again, but we're just on a struggle bus today, and that's okay. That's okay. Low function lurking. Oh, sending you some love, Beetle. Now the SEC won't let them be. Yes. Where is my mouse? Dear God. Okay. I'm going to stand up for a second. Oh, no. Mouse is still stuck. God dang it. Sorry. I thought this was going to go great, and it's not. We'll try it again. The only reason I even know about this fluffery is because of Behind MLM. And as I do my little info spots, I will make sure to let you know if I found it from the SEC, if I found it from the Department of Justice, if I found it from Behind MLM. But when you go on Behind MLM, Rodney was reported about yesterday. Miss Chunga was reported about yesterday. Rodney was attempting, allegedly, to flee to Dubai, and he was caught in the airport. So we're going to talk about that too. Is this good? Are we good? Are we connected? There we go. Mouse is back. I'm just going to let it charge for a second. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm doing my best. It's obviously Eminem. Kareen, hello. We're talking about HyperFund, which is fun. Well, I say fun. HyperFund is fun. The only reason I'm saying that is because we're always like, well, what happens when there's a pyramid scheme around? We're about to find out. We're about to freaking find out. Feeling the country, they're totally innocent. Nothing to see here. Are y'all? Nothing says like I've done nothing like trying to flee the country. I know. Are y'all singing a song? Okay. Fleeing to Dubai is such a rich scammer thing to do. Yes. Hello, Linda. We're talking about HyperFund. Any information that I'm going to be talking about, you'll be able to come in and know what we're talking about because I'm going to have it over here. So we were just talking about the overview of HyperFund. Now, here's the question. Who owns it? Who founded it? The person who got in trouble who founded it goes by Samuel Lee, but his first name is XUE. His middle name, I think, is Samuel. His last name is Lee, but he goes by Samuel Lee, and that is what articles are referring to him as. There's another founder, Ryan, I think it's Zhu, XU, and then the people who are in trouble, allegedly, are Brenda Chunga and Rodney Burton, who are independent distributors along with the founder. What did I miss? I'm looking for Gen M. Oh, wait, what? Elopement countdown 21 days? Let's go. I need to get a kazoo marriage song for you. A down the aisle song. Oh my God. That's so exciting. Can you drop me a 1 in the chat? Not in an MLM way, but if you've heard of HyperFund, and drop a 2 if you haven't heard of HyperFund. Because I only found out about it this week because the internet's going wild with it. And I wanted to know if anybody else is. So you have not. Here comes the bride. Yes. Interesting. So we're all fresh and new here. Great. The SEC has been pissed. So, and again, all of these, when we talk about the individuals, all of them, all of the things that they've done are going to be alleged unless someone takes a plea deal and then they confess to something. You know what I mean? Here comes the bride button to kazoo. That'd be so fun. Oh, Jen M said, y'all are the best internet friends. Love it. Okay. I probably should have put this on don't push out to my regular audience so that people could have not been irritated by HyperFund stuff, because I normally have like Bomb Party, Monate, Young Living. And I'm like, let's get into the crypto shit. Here comes the brides in this case. Yep. Their target customers are people looking to invest and learn about investing. Same. Brandy Lee, we've already agreed there's going to be a kazoo. Oh my God. I have to fix this. I don't know what's going on. Let me just fix this real quick. Edit. I want it to be auto-sized. Is this it? What happened to my text? Charlene, we're talking about HyperFund. And I was going so well. Or I was doing so well, and then I didn't do well. Save. There we go. Not yet, Sam. I'll take a look after the stream. So yeah, these are the same people. This is the same target market as people in iGenius, if that makes sense. The same people that iGenius is targeting are similar, if not the same people that HyperFund was targeting. Yes. Superfund instead of HyperFund. Yep. Their target are braids who want to learn to invest. Yep. All right. So here's the next slide. I thought this was the next natural question, because sometimes you're like, oh yeah, the FBI or the CIA, like, you know, they're government agencies and they can enforce things and they also do other stuff. But like, what the hell does the SEC do? Like, we hear it. Maybe some of y'all know. I'm just saying this to other people who don't know who the SEC is. But the SEC, or the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, just in case that gets thrown out on a bomb party live and we want to know what the correct words are. It's the Securities and Exchange Commission, is a federal agency responsible for enforcing federal securities laws and regulating the securities industry. So basically, everything that HyperFund is about, which we love. The nation's stock and options exchanges and other related activities and organizations in the United States. Its primary purpose is to protect investors, maintain fair, orderly, and efficient markets, and facilitate capital formation. And here's, if my next question was, well, how do they do that? Here's how the SEC holds companies accountable: regulatory oversight, enforcement actions, investigations, rulemaking, litigation, penalties and remedies, and education, and cooperation with other entities. So they work with other regulatory bodies to make sure that everybody is not screwing over the consumer. The Free Trade Committee. Yeah, if y'all missed that stream, our beloved bomb party lady, not the one I bought the ring from, but the other one we react to regularly, was like, thought it was the Free Trade Committee, which it's not. So, yay. And I can go into detail on those, but those are like how they do this. And this is the logo of the Securities and Exchange Committee. I don't know. I love a picture. And I was like, we need a picture. on the slide. Tori, I hope you have a good day off. From both jobs? Heck yes. What in the world is going on with my stream? There we go. Let's do that. Do y'all need more information about like how they go and do each part of this, these enforcement aspects of keeping the law in the wild, wild west of securities? I'm just looking over here at the chat because the Service Economy Council. These clicky clacky keyboards are the best. Oh, playing at 1.75 to catch up. It's the chipmunk section of the broadcast for me. Oh my goodness. I know this is a little dry for us, but I feel like it's important. Okay, cool. We'll go back. So here's regulatory and oversight. Here's what it is. The SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, oversees the disclosure of important financial information through various filings, such as annual reports, quarterly reports, and proxy statements, which public companies are required to submit regularly. When I worked at the oil company as a graphic designer, we were the ones putting the annual report together for the investors to be printed and stuff like that, and then we submit it to the SEC. This ensures transparency and that investors have access to all material information needed to make informed investment decisions. Does that make sense? Oh, I hate that I said that. Retract it. I'm not going to say, does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions? No, tell everyone how to avoid being vulnerable to this type of fraudulent money making. Oh, I will at the end. But I'm hoping that if nobody knows what HyperFund is, we have to set a foundation too of like what it is, who's involved, the players, and then we can talk how to avoid it for sure. The next thing that the SEC helps with are enforcement actions, and that the Securities and Exchange Commission has the authority to bring civil enforcement against individuals and companies alleged to have committed accounting fraud, provided false information, or engaged in insider trading or other violations of the securities laws. If you remember, Martha Stewart got in trouble, went to jail, went to prison. Is jail a temporary one and then prison is the... Anyways, she went to jail for a period of time for insider trading. That was a violation of securities laws. Writing this down, JK. I love to make popcorn, but I've never heard of HyperFund till this stream. It's interesting because there's so many correlations to iGenius, in my opinion, and the potential of who could get in trouble in iGenius as well, since we're seeing this with HyperFund. And also iGenius went through that, what I was talking about, but what we were talking about earlier in the stream about the facelift of changing like their branding and their name and stuff so that they can avoid trouble. iGenius went through that too. So gotcha, Tori. Thank you so much. Yeah, broad strokes. So SEC does investigations. I'm just going through the details because some people wanted them. The SEC conducts investigations into potential violations of securities laws. These can be triggered by tips, which is what we do. We send stuff in, complaints, referrals from other regulatory agencies, market surveillance activities, media reports, or the SEC's own initiatives. So if they have a whistleblower and someone comes to them, then they can do what they do. And I'm sure they have stuff in place to be able to catch some of this. But there's a lot of MLMs at play. Hey, Jessica. Obviously, we heard about the securities laws. The SEC is the one who creates and amends the rules. We don't need to go into that. The litigation, they've got their own legal team. They can bring people to court for securities laws violations. And the SEC can litigate in U.S. federal courts or within its administrative proceeding process. Penalties and remedies, you can get fined to hell in a handbasket if you get in trouble with the SEC. And so they have the authority to impose a variety of sanctions, including fines, disgorgement of ill-gotten gains, bans from serving as officers or directors of public companies, and injunctions against future violations. So they kind of have a lot of power. Jessica has an awesome pure romance script building. It is wild. And the SEC can educate investors about the risks associated with investing. Blah, blah, blah. I say blah, 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 like, okay, we get it. You can educate. This is like what the SEC can do. Not necessarily what they can't do, but what they can do is so far reaching that there's a lot of things they can't do. And they obviously cooperate with other governmental agencies and regulatory bodies in not just here in the US, but internationally. And like their whole goal is to promote a market environment that is worthy of the public's trust and characterized by transparency and fairness. Maybe they need a bigger staff. Because I know they're busy doing all this stuff, but it seems like there could be more to be done. Companies, and this is the last part. Probably the big guns of the securities part of like companies. So you can get in big trouble if you're a huge corporation or a small corporation with the SEC. Companies and individuals that do not comply with the regulations enforced by the SEC are subject to various forms of disciplinary action depending on the severity and nature of the violation. We're seeing that here in HyperFund. They are very specific big guns. Yes, Hannah. Yep. Okay. We got it. We all know who the SEC is now. We all know who HyperFund is. Let's look into why does the SEC... Why are they looking into HyperFund? Great question. How do you get information to the SEC? I guess that was a little bit of a... Basically ranging from fines to prison. Yep. Yeah, Martha Stewart's awesome. The insider trading wasn't awesome, but her marketing team is next level for her being able to get back into doing what she did before. Okay, here we go. The SEC's investigation into HyperFund, which led to the charges against its founders and top promoters, was likely tipped off by several red flags that are commonly associated with pyramid schemes and fraudulent investment operations. While the specific details of what prompted the SEC to look into HyperFund have not been publicly disclosed, here are some general factors that often attract regulatory attention. I think it's good for us to know. so that if we can direct some information to the SEC about other companies that potentially are operating as pyramid schemes, we know that. I mean, I don't know if she got away with stealing. She went to prison. But she didn't seem to suffer the consequences afterwards because she already had a lot of money. All right, sorry, I'm going to keep going. Unsustainable returns is a red flag for the SEC. HyperFund promised investors unusually high returns, which in many cases can be a sign of a Ponzi scheme, where returns are paid from new investor funds rather than legitimate business activities. The next red flag, or the next thing that can be a red flag for the SEC, are recruitment over product. The emphasis on recruiting new members to invest rather than on selling any real product or service is a hallmark of pyramid schemes. And again, that definition of real product, or I'm guessing real service, is very broad because some of these companies... Okay, I don't want to argue about Martha Stewart just yet. Let me finish this and then we can talk about it. Another red flag for the SEC is lack of transparency. There may have been a lack of clear information on how HyperFund generated returns for investors, leading to questions about the legitimacy of their business model. So that is another red flag. Another red flag is complaints and reports from investors. So it seems from what I've read that the investors have more of a sway for complaints than just third-party person on the street submitting things. I'm not saying that they wouldn't ever listen to someone like us, but if we can encourage investors, if they are frustrated or if they think that something fishy is going on, they seem to have more of a pull. Investor complaints to regulatory bodies can prompt investigations. These may arise when investors do not receive promised returns or have trouble withdrawing their funds. And another red flag is anomalies in financial statements. If HyperFund provided financial statements, irregularities or inconsistencies could have raised suspicion among regulators. And then another thing for the SEC that will get them to do an investigation are market surveillance programs, and the SEC uses various monitoring tools to detect suspicious activities in the market, which may have identified HyperFund's activities as potentially fraudulent. Whistleblowers. Insider information coming from whistleblowers within the company might have alerted the SEC to the alleged fraudulent practices of HyperFund. We don't know because it hasn't been reported yet, but those all could have been part of it. So these factors, either in isolation or combined, could have contributed to drawing the SEC's attention to HyperFund and initiating an investigation resulting in legal charges. The complaint filed against HyperFund would contain the specifics of what the SEC found during the investigation. And I'm hoping that that ends up being released maybe once the investigation is done, or the SEC also publishes press releases often, so you can go to the SEC website and see what the most current information is. The SEC's press releases regarding the charges against HyperFund and its promoters indicate that they believed HyperFund operated a fraudulent pyramid scheme with no real source of revenue, suggesting that at least some of these red flags were present. And that is from the SEC.gov and the SEC.gov/litigation. Other sources like Barron's and Bloomberg provide further context to these charges and the nature of the alleged fund. HyperFund. Generally making promising returns to people and bigger than life returns to people if they invested with HyperFund. So we can also hold on. Copy. Let me just double check something real quick. If we can look at behindmlm.com, that is where I got some of the information from. And let me edit this. I'm just double checking something really quickly. And we can talk about Martha Stewart. 1 second. Okay. Okay. So Martha Stewart is somebody who got slapped by the SEC, and I think we'd have to go in, and I'm guessing Elaine knows a lot more than I do, but we already read that with the SEC that there's penalties for doing stuff like this. She went to prison for it. A lot of times there's fines with that. I don't know the money that she gained from the insider trading, if she was fined for it or not. So I'd love to hear more about that. But Martha Stewart was somebody who is a real world, an example of somebody who got slapped by the SEC. Yeah, for sure. We can have Martha Stewart discussion in the Discord, and maybe that's a better place to do it. It might have been the lying that put her in jail, but I mean, that is a penalty of getting in trouble with the SEC. So, thank you, Hannah. So Stewart will pay disgorgement of $45,673, representing the losses avoided from her insider trading, plus prejudgment interest of $12,389 for a total of $58,062, and a civil penalty of $137,019 $137,019. Right. First she did the insider trading, then she lied about it. And you will get, the SEC has very sophisticated, intricate programs in place to notice things that go on in the market so they can catch some of this stuff. So these are quotes from Hannah. This is what I was reading from. Stewart has also agreed to a 5-year bar from serving as a director of a public company and a 5-year limitation on her service as an officer or employee of a public company. We saw that too as one of the penalties that the SEC can dish out. We read that earlier on in the stream when we were talking about who the SEC was. So that makes sense now that we have some foundational knowledge about the Securities and Exchange Commission. Sorry, I'm nervous. Amy said, part of my job is making sure my company is SEC compliant. Ton of rules for sure. Oh my gosh, Amy, I love that. All right, let's go. Here's the next part. Okay, I'm going to answer the question. This is one of 2 founders. This is the only founder that is in trouble so far. This is XUE space Samuel Lee. He goes by Sam Lee. So for ease of like talking about it, I'm going to call him Sam Lee. This is one of the founders of HyperFund. So Sam Lee is one of the founders of HyperFund, which is a part of the Hypertech group, which I found more information, which is super interesting. The specific founding date of HyperFund is not mentioned in the recent news articles and SEC releases provided. However, Hypertech Group, which includes HyperFund among its initiatives, has been operational for several years. HyperFund has come under scrutiny from financial regulators for being involved in an alleged pyramid scheme. Sam Lee, alongside other individuals associated with the group, has faced serious legal charges from both the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission and the Department of Justice. Given that the recent charges and investigations relate to activities dating back to around June 2020, this makes so much more sense now. As mentioned in the sources provided, it is reasonable to infer that HyperFund was established prior to that date. For the exact founding date, one would typically refer to company registration records or historical announcements from the company itself. Sam Lee, also known as, I'm going to do my best, Zhu Samuel Lee, is an Australian citizen who has been associated with the cryptocurrency platform HyperFund. According to recent reports and legal actions, he has been charged by both the SEC and the DOJ for his role in an alleged cryptocurrency fraud scheme related to HyperFund. The SEC has accused Sam Lee of being a part of a $1.7 billion crypto pyramid scheme through HyperFund, which promised investors exceptionally high returns that are typical in fraudulent operations. The charges claim that HyperFund operated without any real source of revenue other than the recruitment of new investors, which is indicative of a Ponzi or pyramid scheme, and that is from the SEC.gov. Furthermore, the DOJ has indicted him on charges related to a $1.89 billion cryptocurrency fraud scheme. The indictment suggests that he was residing in the United Arab Emirates at the time the charges were made public. So I don't know if my information is bad, but it's over 1.7 billion, okay? That's from justice.gov. Australian news sources, including ABC News, have also reported on Sam Lee's charges, highlighting the large scale of the alleged fraud scheme and its impact. And that's from abc.net.au. Coverage from mainstream financial news outlets such as CNBC and financial regulatory news sources have discussed the implications of these charges and what they mean for investors in the wider cryptocurrency industry. That's from CNBC.com and financialregnews.com. Shui, thank you, Anastasia. So, Shui Samuel Lee. Thank you. I'm sorry. So, this is a big deal. A super big deal. Now, something important to say. Sam Lee is a key figure in an alleged large-scale cryptocurrency fraud case involving HyperFund, with significant charges brought against him by U.S. regulatory and legal authorities. That's founder in trouble. And it's alleged up until this point, and he's not guilty of a crime until the courts find him guilty. Yeah. I think so, Sam. I have to find more information. I feel like I'm drinking from a fire hydrant, like learning about all of the HyperFund stuff, but we could do a part 2 of this stream. And I don't know why his partner wasn't charged. I'm confused about that, but I'm excited to keep up with the case. Now, the more interesting stuff is coming up next. Not with Brenda, but with Rodney, okay? These are the other 2 distributors who were involved with this fluffery, allegedly. Hi, Harper. So this is Brenda Chunga. Oh, it's not in the right spot. Please hold. I tried to make this good and then I'm not doing a good job on this stream. That's okay. We'll try better next time. This is Brenda Chunga, also known by her online moniker, Bitcoin Beautee. And she is a social media personality and businesswoman involved in various ventures, including commercial lending and real estate. However, she has recently come under legal scrutiny due to her involvement in the cryptocurrency scheme associated with HyperFund. Chunga is reportedly facing charges for her role as a promoter in what has been described as a $1.7 billion crypto Ponzi scheme, or allegedly a pyramid scheme, according to a press release from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The allegation suggests that she was part of a larger operation that convinced investors to put their money into HyperFund, promising high returns that were not based on sustainable business activities, but rather on the recruitment of new investors to their scheme. Thank you, Kate. The SEC, as I understand it, can charge people of any nationality who commit crimes in the U.S., which can be done virtually. Thank you so much. The legal consequences appear to be significant for Chunga, as reports indicate that she has agreed to settle fraud and unregistered offering charges with the SEC. And that was, I found on the SEC.gov. Furthermore, coverage from the Justice Department website suggests she pleaded guilty to related charges, and that was listed on justice.gov. These documents are vital because they reflect ongoing efforts by regulators to clamp down on fraudulent activities within the cryptocurrency space, particularly those resembling classic pyramid or Ponzi structures. Chunga's situation also serves as a cautionary tale about the risks associated with these types of investment schemes and the importance of conducting thorough due diligence before investing. Now, a difference between her and the founder, she's pled guilty. Okay? And I don't know if she did that for reduced getting in trouble so that she can testify against her co-distributor and the founder, but we're going to find out. Here's the interesting part to me. The SEC was brought attention to this with the activities starting back in 2020 during the panini or the pandemic. So I'm wondering if people were, again, we saw this in other multi-level marketing companies, but multi-level marketing companies took advantage, in my opinion, of individuals during the pandemic. And we saw it in Monate and Prove It and Young Living and doTERRA and every single MLM, in my opinion. And so the fact that these activities started in June of 2020 that they were looking at makes me think that they were taking advantage of people who were scared and then got them involved in their Ponzi pyramid-esque situation to have them invest to assuage their fear, and then they ended up getting rich off of it. And crypto scams thrived during the pandemic. iGenius, absolutely. Correct. So they got people to invest real money. Then they got HU in return. And then that had to be transferred to a different token. And then they weren't able to withdraw, from what I understand. Yes, but they weren't mining any tokens. It was robbing Peter to pay Paul, like any Ponzi. Yep. And they were, the distributors, I think, were getting rewarded for signing up new people, and nothing was getting offered in return. The SEC had this great line in their complaint that the only thing the company was mining was its investors' pockets. Oh my God, that's incredible. So that's Brenda. From what I understand, her Instagram has been taken down. This is Brenda Chunga. She's the one that has pled guilty. In Fantasy Star, HU is an abbreviation for hunter, appropriate for a predatory scheme. Yes, Demi. All right. Let's look to see who Rodney is. This is Rodney. Oh, he's on top again. Goddamn. This is Rodney Burton. And we're about to... He goes by his online moniker Bitcoin Rodney and is reportedly a prominent figure in the cryptocurrency space with a significant following on social media platforms such as Instagram. It said Instagram, but I call it Instaspam. Hello, Aaron. Yeah, she copped a plea already. I mean, and they have to have evidence to be able to take down these bigger fish. And so, I mean, I think it's a strategic. These plea deals are strategic so they can actually get people in trouble. Rodney is known for promoting various crypto-related ventures and has positioned himself as a coach and expert in internet-based business practices, including search engine optimization, or SEO. Sir, what? According to the U.S. Department of Justice, Rodney Burton is charged by criminal complaint for his alleged role in cryptocurrency fraud scheme. The charges are part of a larger investigation into a $1.7 billion fraud case related to the collapsed trading fund known as HyperVerse? HyperVerse and HyperFund are different. Okay. This gets so twisty so fast. Hey, Aaron. Burton's arrest was reported by various news outlets, including The Guardian and Rolling Stone. These reports discuss his alleged involvement in promoting the HyperVerse platform, which is embroiled in accusations of operating a Ponzi scheme. So HyperVerse, HyperFund, Hypertech, they're all associated. You can learn SEO on YouTube. And there's an ethical way to do SEO. Coaches unite. Okay, but the interesting part is this guy was arrested in an airport with a one-way ticket to Dubai because he was trying to, in my opinion, get out while the getting was good because he was being looked at for operations in his pyramid scheme. Yeah, I'm just trying to let y'all know where I found information so that I'm not taking credit where, like, away from people who did the work. I'm just trying to, like, let y'all know where I found the info. Trying to, like, cite my sources. The alleged scheme involved enticing investors with the promise of high returns, typical of fraudulent operations that rely more on inflows of new capital rather than genuine, sustainable business activities. And that's such a good term because when we look at multi-level marketing, Monate is not a genuine, sustainable business activity. You have to buy so much product. No person on the planet would buy that much product, in my opinion, and they have to buy it so they can get access to their paycheck. That's not a genuine, sustainable business activity. You know what I mean? It is important to note that these are allegations at this point with him. Obviously, Brenda has already pled guilty, but the allegations with him at this point, and like anyone charged with the crime, Rodney Burton is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The legal process will determine the outcome of these accusations. I'm trying to say all this to be careful. You know what I mean? Let me go back up here. Let's see. So the most recent, and we can probably, let's go to behind MLM. Oh, Behind MLM posts so many articles a day. It's wild. I want to read y'all the Rodney situation. Let's see. I guess I need to go back to Rodney then. Just kidding. I can't go back to Rodney. There we go. All right. Rodney Burton arrested en route to Dubai, denied bail. Following unsealing of Rodney Burton's HyperFund criminal case, and Hyperverse, HyperFund, I think it's interchangeable, but I'm going to have to look that up. HyperFund case, details of his arrest have been made public. While we knew Burton was arrested in Florida on January 4th, what we didn't know is Burton was arrested at the airport with a one-way ticket to Dubai. Burton, right, fleeing to Dubai suggests he might have been aware he was under investigation. This isn't surprising, seeing as the SEC has also filed civil HyperFund fraud charges. Note, Burton is not a named defendant in the SEC's case. Following Burton's arrest, he was transferred to Maryland, where he made his initial appearance on January 25th. So this is pretty new, in my opinion. Burton was then ordered temporarily detained pending a detention hearing on January 29th. At that hearing, Burton was ordered detained pending trial. In handing down her decision, Magistrate Judge Aslan cited Burton's significant assets, the weight of the evidence presented against him, Burton's history and characteristics, and the fact he was arrested at airport with one-way ticket to UAE. In Burton's order of detention, Magistrate Judge Aslan ticked the box, signifying there was serious risk that Burton will not appear if released. Burton was indicted under seal on December 29, 2023, alongside HyperFund co-founder Sam Lee and fellow U.S. promoter Brenda Chunga. Burton has been charged with conspiracy to operate an unlicensed money transmitting business and operating an unlicensed money transmitting business. Oh, operate. Why does it say that twice? Oh, conspiracy to operate and operating. Got it. If convicted, Burton faces up to 5 years on each count, disgorgement, and monetary penalties. So, yikes. Oh, thank you, Cena. See, like, I'm still new here. Thank you so much. And that's the thing. When you've built up search terms like HyperFund, then you change the name, you won't find any of the negative press when you change the name. So, like, you can avoid someone being able to scrutinize what you're doing because there's not going to be any negative press, negative videos, negative commentary on Hyperverse because everything was labeled HyperFund. Thanks, Brandy Lee. Hi, Nelkita. Ooh, Teen Vogue is good stuff? Cool. Would advisors from your own bank be the best source of investment info, or is it just hopeless out there? I can't think of another reason investors would trust these random people. It's about not access to education, but it's just the know, like, and trust factor that MLMs operate on, and also they get focused on these individuals who are living this lifestyle, who seem relatable, and then they say, well, I can teach you how to do this too. And then they get sucked in. There are some good free investing sources online. You can also go to governmental sites like .gov, and they can give you some warning flags on shady investing sources to look out for. Only hire someone who has a fiduciary duty towards you. I feel like I'm out of my league on this stream. Thumbs downers, what's up? I wish more information about investing was widely taught in schools in the U.S. Yeah, I agree, Demi. My dad's going on a walk with all the dogs with his weighted backpack on. It seems like a lot of people get taken in with these scams promising high returns when that's just not likely. And again, there's also pressure in terms of what people can make in their job and how high housing is here and how high food costs are. It puts people in a position where they're looking for additional things to be able to make money. I've been in that place too. I'm looking for more work right now too, now that I'm feeling better. Like, it's not always people being desperate, but it's like there's also factors that we cannot control that are pressing on that desperation feeling in us to find a solution. And then you hear somebody like allegedly Rodney Burton or Brenda Chunga or Sam Lee talking about how everyone can do this and ours are giving the best returns out there, and it would be wild if you didn't get in now, because think of all these whatever opportunities that people got involved with early, and you can too. Hey, Tanya. Desperation can really affect your judgment. This is Shelby. Always hire a fiduciary. If the person you hire is not a fiduciary, then that means they can lie, cheat, and steal from you to get the best deal for themselves. A fiduciary must work in your best interest. Thank you, Shelby. If anyone's promising you with that their scheme will, oops, I'm not in the right one. If anyone's promising you their scheme will double your money or give you 50% returns, they're lying. Yep. And don't invest money that you're not willing to lose 100% of it, if that makes sense. Because if you're investing something and it will break you if you lose that money, or if you'll lose 20% of that money or whatever, then don't invest it, in my opinion. I mean, it's different than, if your company has a 401k matching or anything like that. Obviously, like, you put money in, your company matches it, and then it gets taxed when you want to pull it out at retirement. Got it. But investing can be twisty, and like Hannah said, don't invest what you can't afford to lose, and lose all of it. All right, I guess this is going to be a short stream. 1 hour. Oh my God. We've learned about what the SEC does today, kind of what types of people can, or what types of things will tip off the SEC, what the heck HyperFund is, the players involved in the HyperFund Ponzi pyramid scandal, and we're waiting for more information. But just in case you missed it, I will go ahead and just recap quickly what HyperFund is if you came in this at the end. But HyperFund, described as a cryptocurrency-based multi-level marketing company, has made promises to investors about the potential of earning significant returns on their investments. In practice, HyperFund issued an internal token known as capital H, capital U, HUE, which they claimed held value. To realize profits on HUE, investors would need to convert these tokens to another cryptocurrency called MOF, via HyperFund before they could withdraw funds to an exchange. However, according to various authorities and sources, things that we've talked about here on this channel today, HyperFund has been classified as a Ponzi or pyramid scheme, with several reports and reviews alleging fraudulent activity. The business model reportedly enticed investors to purchase membership packages, promising that the company would create a portfolio of rewards, tripling their investment amount. And now they're in trouble with the SEC for $1.7 billion from investors. I hope you feel all the way better soon, Beetle. That's a great tip, Sina. Yep, Brandy Lee. I invest a percentage of my income automatically every week. I believe consistency wins out in the long run. Yep, for sure. No, iGenius is either Canadian based or it's here in the US. I think it might be here in the US. So, thank y'all for hanging out. I hope this was kind of interesting. It's new to me as well. I think it's also encouraging to cover things that are being classified as pyramid and / Ponzi schemes, because to know that there's actually movement happening. Does it happen at the scale we want? I don't think so. Is there a lot of work that regular people can do to talk about it and deter people and be able to actually give information to maybe persuade or just let them have enough info that they maybe make a decision that doesn't get them sucked into a pyramid scheme? I think, yeah, people like us can do that. So I hope you have a good day. I'll probably be on later, but I was so close to having a good outro. Like, subscribe, do the YouTube things. I appreciate it. The stream appreciates it. And thank you so much, Replay Crew. You're awesome. And live chat, thanks for hanging out. Okay, doodles. Oh, I guess I should just exit like this and do I'm making a new outro. Okay, bye.